the way, did you finish that Max Kellerman thing?
I did. Yeah, I think he has a pretty
Okay.
interesting perspective on it. But I feel like there's a lot more ways to look at it, not just that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean, he's talking purely about finals performances.
exactly,
Right? Like,
and that
defined
is
as-
one component. But
Yeah.
is that the best component? Are there other ways? So I mean, there's a lot of ways to look at it. And
Yeah.
are we talking too much? I mean, are we biting off more than we can chew if we also bring in, well, who says it's only between LeBron and MJ?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what if you
Who would
open
you
up the
put in that conversation?
I mean, I
Theoretically,
would
just off
put
the top of your
Kareem. I would put Kareem in there.
Okay. That's very
I would put
legitimate.
There's a lot of old people who say
Wilt Chamberlain?
Chamberlain is the greatest ever.
Okay.
And you kids don't understand. I mean, to a certain extent,
Yeah, if
the
you
way they
put
talk
Wilt
about
up
Chamberlain, the way they talk
It's the
about
way we talk
Chamberlain
about
is
Jordan,
the way
yeah.
that we talk about Jordan to the kids now. It's like, you don't understand.
I mean,
didn't
but
see
if you
Jordan.
put Chamberlain in there, basically you would have to nullify the argument that championships matter when
Correct.
determining the GOAT, because he's got what, 2?
Is that right?
And when he won the second one, I don't think that was like during the twilight of his career, so he wasn't even nearly the best player on his team when he won the second.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's that would change the argument, but really, because there's so many different ways to look at this. You can look at it statistically. There's just, so that's why I was saying, like, wow, there's a lot to unpack in the GOAT conversation.
There is. It's a
I don't know
very
if we can do it
interesting
in 15 to
conversation.
30 minutes. I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I mean, it's one of those things where there's never going to be a conclusion, but it's a very, very interesting debate because there are multiple legitimate ways of calibrating what a GOAT is, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Like even like the issue that Max himself mentioned in other telecasts, but not that particular one. The whole thing about the apex of his career value versus the sustainability of that apex. Is it the absolute peak that matters, or how long you can sustain your peak, even if your absolute peak was a little bit lower than the next guy's peak?
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be fair to say that there's no right answer.
Yeah.
Which is sort of like a cheap way of getting out of the argument, is to just say,
I think
well,
there are
there's no
right
real
answers in
answer.
terms of who does not belong in that conversation, right? Like there are people who are great players that you just cannot make a good case for in terms of GOAT. But once you narrow those people out, you whittle down to like the top 5 or maybe even top 10. That's when it gets really difficult, like because that's when definitionally not everyone is going to agree on what the definition of a GOAT should be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you probably can narrow it down to a list, like a tier. Like, well, these people are all within consideration. Didn't Oscar Robertson, didn't he average a triple-double, for his career?
Yeah, he averaged triple-double, not for his career, but I think he did it for 2 seasons or something. Like when Westbrook was chasing that. I mean, he certainly did it. He was the last person to do it before Westbrook. But I wasn't sure if he did it once or he did it multiple times, but it wasn't over the career.
It wasn't over his
that
entire
great.
career?
No, it wasn't
okay,
that.
all right.
That'd be pretty ridiculous.
Well, that's why I've always had him nagging in the back of my mind, because I didn't look at the stats, but I thought I remembered hearing once that he averaged a triple-double for his career.
You've never
But if
seen him
that's not
play,
true-
right? I've never
No,
seen him
no.
play.
No,
Like,
absolutely
have
not.
you ever seen like Rick Barry and people like that?
No. Mm-mm. I mean, to be honest, I didn't even watch Kareem at his height. Kareem at his height, in the mid-late 70s, I didn't see that.
Right.
Right,
right, because he was
him...
kind of slightly off the peak by the early to mid 80s.
Yeah,
he was still
absolutely.
great, but
Yeah.
not by far the best.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think you can argue that we may have even missed Julius Irving's best, because he
We
was
did miss
at his
it.
best in
I mean,
the late
In the
70s
ABA,
and early
or whatever
80s.
you call it, the ABA, is that what it's called?
Well, he was in the
ABA?
ABA, and he was great
Yeah.
then. But he was even great when he got to the NBA at first. He was pretty dominant there for a season or 2 or 3.
Yeah, before
and then he
Moses
even won
got
the
there.
MVP, I think, in 1980 or something like that. But really, I
it was
didn't
before
start paying
Moses got
attention
there.
till
They
after that.
were like making the conference finals, but not the NBA. Oh, they made the NBA finals a couple times, but they didn't have Moses.
Yeah,
so they lost to the Lakers, I think, once before Moses got there. Was it just once losing to the Lakers? They lost to the Celtics a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I mean, there was a crushing defeat by the Portland Trailblazers in I think 79,
Oh.
78, something like that.
Oh yeah.
And like they were totally
Was it
supposed to
a-
win, but they didn't. You know,
Was it a 7-game series? I forgot. I mean, did it go 7 games? I mean,
ooh, I don't even know if it did. And
who
basically,
did Portland have on that team? Was it like
I mean, there's Bill
friggin'
Walton, but it was
Bill
basically,
Walton before he got hurt?
but it was
right?
it was basically like it was sort of the team concept versus the collection of stars. You know, like they had a
Like
bunch
the
of like
Sixers were a
freewheeling.
collection of stars.
The Sixers were a collection of sort
Okay.
of freewheeling stars. You know, like George McGinnis and Julius Irving and
George McGinnis. God,
yeah.
You're fucking old school, man.
yeah. But
How the hell
so
do you remember these names?
no. It was because I watched the documentary. Have you seen the documentary about Julius Irving?
Ah.
It's called The Doctor.
Okay, I haven't seen it. No.
It's about an
Is it
hour.
like one of those ESPN things?
Yeah, it was, but it was sponsored by NBA TV, and so
Okay.
it was 7 years ago. 2013 was when it was, and it's about an hour long, and it's great. Like it's all this old footage and talking. Now, obviously, it's not a comprehensive story. Like they leave out the whole like cheating on his wife thing and stuff like that, you know. And
Sure,
they're
sure.
basically glorifying Julius Irving, but it's a great documentary. Like it totally like I started getting tears and stuff like that. It was great. And so they were talking about, you know,
And I
his
take it
ride.
they interviewed him as well.
Oh yeah, it was all
Okay.
like it, you know, like they took him, you know, on his journey. They went back to like the playground where he first started playing. You know, they went back to the Spectrum, and you know, they went to all these different places to revisit, you know, where he was with him, like he was there. And so he's talking periodically throughout the documentary, but then they also have all this old footage and stuff like that. And then they interview other people. They interviewed Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, because Magic
Yeah,
Johnson and Larry
yeah.
Bird, when they first
They
came
did
in,
battles, yeah.
Doc
He was the
one of
god. He was
yeah,
the god.
him and I mean
right?
Kareem.
they
but
were the
Kareem wasn't
young
same.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. But Magic and Bird, they were the, you know, small forwards who looked up to Julius Irving. And Julius
Yeah.
Irving was like the original Michael Jordan. You know, like he was
You still remember
high-flying
that,
dunks and stuff like that.
Yeah, that video game. Was it
Doc versus Bird.
Dr. J versus Bird. Yeah.
Yeah, Doc versus
Hey,
Bird.
remember that
Yep.
one corner shot? Like I
Yep.
figured out that you could never miss.
You could never miss. That's right. The turnaround
I
jump
forgot.
shot.
Yeah, the turnaround jump shot. Was it only doing it with a Doc that you couldn't miss, or Bird could do the same thing? I couldn't remember.
I just remember doing it.
Was
with
it
Doc. I
both
don't
of
know.
them?
I'm
We
not
just kept-
sure.
Yeah, because we always played Doc. I don't think we ever tried Bird.
Yeah.
But
Forget
yeah,
Bird.
now I can't remember whether or not, yeah, that both of them had that shot or just one of them. And I
Yeah.
don't even know how the heck did we figure that out? And that was such a random shot. Like who
Yeah,
would
it's just a trial and error stuff, you know?
yeah, like a turnaround 3-point shot.
Yeah. It's just like, dude, and you have to wait until right before you hit the ground to
Yeah,
let go.
before he hit the ground.
Right before you hit the ground, and then it would be like 100%. Yeah, you know, that was the first time I'd ever heard of esports. I was like,
Man,
the fuck is esports? But like in the past couple of
No.
years, it's a real thing. It's a
are you going to be okay if one of
Okay.
your kids or both of them turn into like that? You know, like their dream for their birthday is to show up for one of these esport events and actually go. Will you be okay with that?
I would be okay as long as they don't want to be that. But if they want to go watch that, I guess it's okay. It's just another form of entertainment. You know,
mean be that mean becoming one of those participants, like who
Yeah.
actually plays video games?
I don't want them to
incessantly?
dream of being professional video game players. Yeah,
All right,
like I'm not okay
Okay.
with that.
but you're okay
if they
with
want to be a
them wanting to go
spectator,
to
a
LA
fan,
to
that's
watch
okay.
this.
Well, no, we're not flying to LA. We have a stadium in Philadelphia.
Right, but the fact that he's got the desire, let's say he even opened his mouth to ask about this, like, hey, can we go watch this? I heard there's a big tournament
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
in LA. Okay, you're
Yeah.
okay with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
my kids literally like they don't watch normal television. They
Okay.
watch YouTube. Like during their TV time before bed, they watch YouTube. They watch other people playing video.
Yeah, I mean, our kids do that too. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't watch video games, but they watch YouTube much more than TV. Well, because my
Yeah.
TV is actually kind of fucked right now.
Oh, but
like
no.
you can watch like Netflix and stuff, but not normal TV.
Oh yeah. No, but like they're not just watching like TV shows on YouTube. They're watching other people play video games. They're watching people play Minecraft on
Wow,
YouTube.
so they're fascinated by. Do they know how to play Minecraft? Do you let them play?
Yeah, they play a lot.
They play a lot. Do you
yeah.
play Minecraft?
I do. Yeah.
I mean, I've only heard of the term. Like the League of Legends, that's another one I've heard of over and over
It's
again.
completely different. So League of Legends, that's the sort of thing that is esports. Like
Okay.
they have like national rankings, world rankings, and there's
All right.
there's a bunch of games, like maybe like 5 or 6 games that are on that level where like they have like international competitions for like thousands
Okay.
and even millions of dollars in prizes. And
Okay.
but then but like Minecraft is not like that. It's not Minecraft's not a competition. So
So what is it like an experience, like an experiment or an experience?
it's kind of like building with Legos.
Okay. All right. So you do your own thing. You're not really in
Yeah.
competition with anyone else.
No. Yeah. It's an
Okay.
open world game
All right.
where you have the ability to build things, create things, and like you
Okay.
can create like different circuits and you can build houses and you can, or you can just run around shooting other people if you want. But like that's not
Okay.
really the point. But
So the
yeah,
point is the process, not the destination. Like
Very
not how
much.
fast you get things done. It's actually kind of going through every step and kind of enjoying the steps.
yeah, very much. Yeah.
Okay.
But so
Okay.
I mean, you should look into it. It's a good game for kids to express their creativity, and it's a
Okay.
good game
Okay.
to
So there's
teach kids.
educational value to it.
There's actually a lot of educational value, and
Okay,
it
cool.
also
Minecraft.
helps teaching kids sort of like logical thinking and like
Okay.
stepwise problem solving, stuff like that, because you have to do this before you can do this before you can do this, because you're
Got
trying
it.
to get to this end result, but like you can't just jump right to there. You have to get these steps done in order to do it, and so they learn to problem solve using that. And it's kind of like engineering. It's kind of
Okay.
like like the kids, because of their love for Minecraft, over the summer they both took classes on coding, like learning how to code.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like it sort of leads to those kinds
That's
of
pretty cool.
interests. Yeah, so it has some of that educational value. Although I will tell you, 95% of the time they're just fucking around. But
Sure.
it does, as they get
Well,
older.
as long as you get 5%, that's pretty good. That's all you can really ask for. I think in anything in life, right? If you can have 5% efficiency, I'll take it. I mean, I pretty much waste my time 95% of the time. Right? It's
Yeah.
like the greatest hits that count.
Yeah, I think so.